Hello there and welcome to this little discussion we're going to have tonight and this morning, wherever you are in the world. It will depend on where you're at. I want to talk about manifesting today and visualization, and I've called this making a million look easy because, you know, it doesn't actually matter what size it is of the thing that you're wanting to physically bring into your world. The same process applies, whether it's $5 you're wanting to manifest or $5 million. It is the same process because the universe doesn't actually, care how big it is. It's universal law. It's the way thought energy works that's going to be bringing you what it is that you're wanting. So listen up, get your notebooks out, and really take part in this if you would like to really develop an understanding of how to get what it is that you're wanting. So think for a minute, what is it that you'd really love in your life? It might be that you are in a networking company and you would really like to have like a multi-level networking company. You want to have more team members. You want to hit a certain figure in your sales. You might be looking for the perfect partner in your life. You might want a house. You might want to study something or travel somewhere, which right now is quite a challenge, obviously. But whatever it is that you're wanting, I want you to really think about that. It might be something you've never even told anybody, like a secret ambition of yours that you think, you know what, I would love to do that. Why don't you start entertaining that idea today? Because honestly, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for to be able to express what's inside you? And I always say to my clients, I want you to understand what desire is. Desire is an effort of the unexpressed possibility inside you, seeking expression through you, through your actions, and bringing that desire to life. So it's more than just you thinking about it. It's this essence of life in you, seeking expression in that particular form. So think for a minute, what is it that you would like? And maybe it's something you've been thinking about for a while. And I want you to understand that the process of bringing it into your reality, into your physical reality, begins with this process of visualization. And from the outset, I want you to understand that we all visualize all the time. You're doing it every single day. And you have things coming into your life right now. They might not be what you're wanting, but believe me, the process that's bringing them to you is exactly the same process as you'll use to bring the things that you do want into your life. So what is visualization? Well, it's an exercise and it brings order to your mind. And when I say order, it's like it eradicates this mental hurry. You know, if you've got a room that's disorderly, you want to bring order to it, and it's going to really make you feel, right? You don't want the feeling of hurry because that really comes from fear, okay? And that's destructive on every level, alrighty? So visualization is an exercise. And when I say that word exercise, a lot of people get a bit of a twitch, like, oh, I don't really like exercise. But it is an exercise which indicates it's something that you need to practice, okay? You need to do it again and again, just like going to the gym. You don't get a gym membership and go once and expect that you'll get the result you're after. So visualization is an exercise that brings order to your mind and gets rid of that mental hurry, which is really important when you understand, that how you feel is all important. And we're not endeavoring to change the laws of nature or to manipulate the laws of nature here. We're just fulfilling them. Okay, we're doing, taking part in a process, a lawful process that produces what we want. So why would you practice visualization? Like, why would you continue to do it and do it and do it in order to get what you're wanting? Well, that's the first reason that you would practice it, is because you've got something that you want. Okay, you can keep walking through life and just I don't know about you, but I lived life for a while there where I just felt like things were coming at me and I just had to bat them or play them or dodge them. And that was life. I thought that's what life was, a series of problems to be solved. But when you start understanding, you actually do have a part to play in creating the reality that you're living in. Okay, and that's a very good reason to be practicing visualization, because a lot of us have scenes like this fairly regularly in our week where we're concerned, we're worried, we're stressed, we're angry, frustrated, and that's no way to live, really. I work with people and I want to see them expressing who they really are and loving living the life that they're here to live. So visualization is a great way to do that, to be intentionally visualizing what you want. Now, those of you that work with me have seen this little diagram a lot. This is us, all of us, and we have these senses that connect our conscious mind to the outside world. So we hear, see, smell, taste, and touch. They're our five senses. They connect us to what's going on around us. And that is very useful. We all know that we need those senses to help us get by every single day. But we need to remember the use of them and what they're not meant to be used for. And most of us operate in the way that we look around us and we see things, like we see that we don't have as much money as we'd like. We see that we didn't get the promotion. We see that haven't got the opportunity to do what that person did. I see the success in other people, but I don't see it in me. That might be some of the things that you're thinking about. I'd like to live somewhere different, but I don't see how that can happen. What I do see is the limitation, and I see what's happening now for me. So we use our senses to work against us a lot of the time. Okay, we're so hooked up with what is that's all we see. We might be listening to the news, you're hearing things about what's going on, and you take that in and you hang on to that as the truth and the only option that there is. But I want you to start thinking about the fact that you do have in your conscious mind, which is depicted here, this upper part of your mind in this picture, is your conscious mind, where you've got choice. You've got a choice to think. Okay, and that separates us from the animals. Okay, you're not like your pet dog or your pet cat who is just living through instinct. You have a choice what you think, and you've actually got a toolbox of mental muscles up here in your conscious mind that you've got to use to help you get what it is that you're wanting. And that's step number one, really. And I would suggest that a lot of us use things like our memory, which is one of our intellectual faculties. Again, we use our memory against us. So we remember what happened before. You might be out of a relationship and think, oh, well, the next relationship's in your sight, but you think, well, last time this happened, and you keep going back to what has happened, and you are operating in the now directly related to what has happened in the past, and you're bringing that with you. And that's using your memory against you. But you have another faculty called imagination. And instead of looking at what is, you can actually look at what you'd like things to be. And we do that through our imagination. Young children do it all the time, and they're brilliant at it. Like, they get really emotionally involved in the imagined reality that they're living. And I just love watching it because they really are there. They're very focused and they can really see that image. And I would encourage you to start doing that. That's the first step in visualizing what we want, is to actually see it. A lot of people say to me, I want financial freedom. And so the first question I have for them is, well, what does that look like for you? And they haven't actually itemized it. They don't actually know. They might say, well, I want a lot of money. Well, what's a lot of money? You've got to get a really clear picture and imagine it in all its detail, in all its beauty. That's the first step. And that, when you think of visualization, that's definitely what it is. It's like, what are you seeing in this picture of what you're wanting? Most of us don't take the time because we're too busy being focused on what is. using our senses to hear and see, and we're so hooked into that we don't even allow ourselves to imagine, because we think, well, that's not real. But let me tell you, that's the first place that everything you see around you right now began. You know, the chair you're sitting on, the desk that you're working from, everything we see that's been already made around us started as an idea in somebody's mind before it existed physically. It has to start right there in your thinking. So how do you practice visualization? And it is an exercise that you need to practice. And the first step is to know what you want. Okay, and that might sound a bit simplistic, but if you stop most people in the street and ask them what they want, they might say, what do you mean, what do I want for lunch? Or what are you talking about? It's like, what do you want? What are you heading towards? What's your goal or your purpose for being here? What are you working towards? Because you're actually, you know, the life in you is seeking expression, expansion all the time. That's life. That's what life is. So it's like, what is it that you're wanting? You know, what are you wanting to achieve? What are you heading towards? And when you get the picture of that, I want you to look carefully at what does that picture that you see, like that snapshot, what does that result in your life? A lot of people, when I'm working with them, they'll say, well, I want this. And they're just seeing that picture to the exclusion of everything else. And they haven't let it spread. Like they're looking at it through a keyhole. They haven't opened the door and said, well, that will affect this and this and this. Get a really clear picture of, yes, I want this. And what does that mean? What is the ripple effect going to mean? And get a very clear picture of what you're wanting and what it will produce. Okay. And then the next step is to hold that picture on the screen of your mind with your will, which is another of your intellectual faculties. So you've imagined a picture and you've had a look at, what does that mean for my life? And then you hold it with your will. Now, the thing about holding something is it's not that you're forcing it or manipulating it. You're just directing the flow of energy when you're holding something with your will. So you're holding a picture on the screen of your mind and you're really shaping this thought energy by doing that. So thought energy is always flowing to and through you. And when you build a picture and hold it there, it's like you've made a shape for that thought energy to flow into a certain form. Okay. Now, by doing that, of course, you're producing a shape you want rather than what you don't want. And you're guarding against the images of what you don't want by holding the image of what you do want. If you let that image go and just, you know, the doubt and the fear that comes in is going to start shifting that image. It's a bit like, you know, the slide projector shows that we used to have. I don't know if you're as old as I am, but, you know, the slide goes in, the light shines through it and produces a picture. If you were to move the slide around, that picture is not going to be very clear. So you've got to hold the picture, really give it the shape that you want it to be. Okay, and think about every aspect of it. And then by doing that, you're not leaving room for other thoughts to come in about what you don't want. So you're very focused on what you do want and you're holding that. And holding it indicates no force. Okay, I always tell the story about one of my girls went to school and they had a little chick as their class pet, and it was being handed around to these young children, and one of the children brought it back to the teacher while I was there, and they said, oh, I think the chick has gone to sleep. And they'd actually like squashed it. They'd held it so tightly that they'd squashed it. And I've always remembered that as a very good picture, I guess, of we've got to make sure we're holding it, but not forcing it, not squashing what it is that you're wanting. It's a bit like the rose, you know, you can watch a rose open. It happens so quickly really, but if you try to open it yourself and force that, you kill it. And it's the same with this picture that you've got. There's no force, there's no manipulation. It's just like, get the picture up there, like form the picture and then just hold it. You're not trying to force it. Because if there's force, if you're feeling like, oh, it's so hard for me to see it, it's like you're conscious then that you're fighting against something. So this picture of what you want will really just float to the surface when you let it. And that's a good indication of it is something that you really desire. Okay, it shouldn't be hard to get this picture of what you're wanting. If it's really what you want, it will bob up into your consciousness and you'll be able to hold it there without too much force. Okay, so there shouldn't be any force at all involved. Now, the other step I want you to understand when it comes to visualization is to have a cheerful frame of mind when you are thinking of the image of what you're wanting. So whatever it is, you're not seeing any sign of it in your physical world right now, but you've got this beautiful imagined image of it. And you're holding that. Now, what happens when you bring it to mind? How do you feel? Is your first thought like, oh, how's that going to happen? Or, oh, I have to work harder, you know, and you've got all these ideas racing through your head of how that will happen. And it starts to get a bit stressful. A lot of people say to me, I don't go to my image much because I don't feel good when I do it. Well, that's an indication that you're actually not thinking about your image. You're thinking about how am I going to make this happen? Okay. And that's not a cheerful place to be. And what happens is that when we've got thoughts going on that are not cheerful, they're shooting holes in the beautiful picture that you've got, that you're holding on the screen of your mind. Every time you have a doubt or a worry, or you think maybe this doesn't work, maybe I don't deserve this, like, oh, that was a dumb idea to even think that I could have it. It's shooting a hole in your picture, and enough of those holes, and soon enough you won't even be seeing the picture. Okay, it's gone. You've shot it to pieces with all the doubt and the fear and the worry and the non-belief, the limiting beliefs about yourself. So they all weaken your picture. So it's about holding that picture on the screen of your mind and then living in gratitude, like just in a cheerful, grateful state, okay? And letting the forces that you've set in motion by seeing the picture and getting emotionally involved in it and just thinking, yes, you know, you can see it, you're living in the feeling of it already. When you do that, that sets in motion forces that will begin to conspire on your behalf to see it move into your reality, and you'll start moving towards it. So that's what you want to set in motion. But every time we doubt or worry or you know, come up with ideas of, oh, I have to try to do this, then we're really cutting into that supply. Like, just let it happen, let it come into your life. Your job is to hold the image of it. And I love this. This might help you. Most importantly, your mental picture of what you want is setting the stage. It's controlling the form which the thought energy will take. A bit like I said before, you're creating a form that it's flowing into. And a good way to describe it is you've got people coming around for dinner, okay? You've invited people for dinner, and you're going to then set the stage. You're going to prepare your home, you're going to prepare the meal, you're going to set the table, and you're preparing for these people that are coming for dinner. Just the same as you have got a picture of what you're wanting, and you're going to start setting the scene, okay? You're controlling the form through which the energy will take form, right? You're creating a scene, the setting stage. What we don't do, though, is you don't picture the specific way and all the circumstances that need to happen to have it arrive. You don't want to put it in a box, so to speak, okay, for its delivery. It's a bit like if you had people coming for dinner, you've set the table, you've prepared the meal, that's all your stuff to do, okay? That's quite all right for you to do. But what you wouldn't do is ring every single one of them and say, hey, how are you getting here? Which way are you driving? And you wouldn't keep ringing them and saying, are you still coming? Like, you said yes, but I'm just checking. That's what we're doing every time when we've got a picture, and every time we think of it, we then start having doubts, and it's like, is this really true? Can this really happen? How can this happen? I think I need to know more about how it's going to arrive. You don't need to know. You just need to know what it looks like, and that's where your focus needs to stay, okay? I want you to understand that thought is creative action. Okay? Just knowing that alone is going to change your world. Thought is creative action. It always takes physical form. Okay? It can't not do that. Okay? The law cannot do anything for you, only through you. So there's a lawful process, that thought energy, which is the most powerful energy on the face of the planet. And it's going to move from this spiritual into the physical. That's the way it goes. Now, the law can't do anything for you, only through you. So it is going to take some action on your behalf. Like I said, you've asked people for dinner. You do your part in preparing for that to the extent that you can do. Now, it's a bit like saying there are birds out there in the trees and they all want to be fed, but God doesn't go around dropping food in their nest. They have to go out and look for it. They will find it, but they have to do their part in finding it. Now, your part in visualization is to form the image of what you want and allow yourself to get emotionally involved in it as if you already have it. What would you feel like if it was already here? And to do that and not get concerned about how is it going to arrive. And like I said, I don't care how big this dream of yours is. If it is a real desire that you have, you can know that everything you need is going to be provided, as long as you do your part and take the action that you are feeling led to take, and then let the rest of it unfold. Okay, so you do your part and relax, knowing that the law will do its part every single time, because it is a process, a lawful process. So why is it that we struggle to practice visualization? Because most people are happy to talk to me about what they haven't got and why they haven't got it and whose fault it was, and well, this, opportunity didn't come, and this person, didn't make it easy, and this went wrong. Why do we struggle to practice visualization of what we do want? We've got an imagination that's sharp as, if we would just use it and really hone that muscle to be able to use it really well, we can think about what we're wanting. But most of us spend most of our time looking at what is. Okay, so we're not visualizing. Our visualization ends up being, we're focused on what is. So that's what the picture that we're holding, that's what we're getting emotionally involved in. And we do hold it on the screen of our mind, what is. And so we get more of the same. It might be a variation on a theme, but it's pretty much the same, between a bandwidth of, a bit better, a bit worse. But we don't ever seem to break out of that. And that is because we're not using that faculty that we have to imagine what we want. And the reason that we're not using it is because we have a programming. We've been taught, we've lived for such a long time, living with our senses, just looking at what is, thinking about what is, and getting more of what is. And very few people, in fact, it's as small as, 3% of the population, even think about what they do want that's different to what they're getting. And that's because we do have a very, very strong programming. The collection of habits that you have that make up your paradigm, your program, lives in your subconscious mind. So you're not even really aware of it. You can only see the result of it. Okay. And it controls all of these areas of your life. The way you look at things, the perception that you have of life and the events that are going on around you, the use of your time. A lot of people say to me, I don't have time. Well, we all have the same amount of time. So it's just about how are we using our time. The beliefs that you hold, that's huge for most people. We don't even have a look at what we believe. Really, most of us never, ever do. And that belief that you have going on, running through your subconscious there all the time, running the programming that sees you do what you do and get what you get, we never even take a look at that. The creativity, most people say to me, oh, I'm not creative. We're all creative. That's what we are, by the fact that we have an imagination. And you are imagining and you are visualizing but you're just maybe not aware of what you're imagining and visualizing, and you might be using that against you. So your effectiveness, your productivity, your self-image, they're all a big part of why we struggle to practice visualization, because all of these things get in our way. Our logic and all of that controls your ability to earn money. And money is one of the biggest things people say to me, I'd really, if I had more money, if I had money freedom, everything would change. And you're right, it would. And it's a very simple but not easy way to have that change. But once you learn it, a bit like riding a bike, once you've learned it, you never forget. And you could be living this way effortlessly, doing what you love and living the life that you love, if you would just decide to do something differently. It really does come down to a decision. So if you find yourself, droning on every day about what you're not happy with in life, then, something like visualization, which you are doing every day, but you've just got to start getting conscious about what is it that you're wanting. Okay. And a lot of people I speak to say, oh, you know what, I'm happy the way I am. Like it's not setting the world on fire, but it's okay. Don't be fooled. Nothing stays the same. You're either growing or dying, like disintegrating. So you're either learning and becoming more, or you're not. And so really look in the mirror and ask yourself, do I actually want to stay as I am? And if you do, you're actually saying, all I'm ever going to be is right now. Like what I am right now is all I'm ever going to be. And if that's good for you, then that's good. But if you've got things in your life that are not as you'd like them to be, then perhaps if you're listening to this, it's time to say, I might take a look at how I can get more, because life's not just about you, it's about the lives you're affecting. That's really what we're here for, is to, bring who we are to the rest of the world. And whatever that is, that little secret ambition of yours that you'd like for your life, that's not just possible or probable, it's actually inevitable when you start understanding the way that your thinking works. And visualization is something that everybody does, and it's really good to know how it works. So thank you for joining me. I am here to help you live the life that you love, okay? And maybe that is just a fantasy in your mind right now, but I am telling you, if you've got a desire for a certain thing in life, where you want to be something or do something, then don't ignore that, okay? Because there is such amazing life to be had just by following what it is that you're wanting. In fact, that is the beginning of the roadmap right there. So take down my details, send me a message, let's have a chat. And no, I don't charge to chat. I really would love to talk with you about where you're at, what you would like in life, and I can certainly point you in the right direction and get you started, and get you there all the way if that's what you want. But there's absolutely no pressure for that. But if any of this resonates with you and you think, you know what, I'm just a bit curious, then give me a call, send me an email, and let's catch up and talk about your life and what you're here to do. Alrighty, thank you for joining me. I am going to stop the share now, and I look forward to talking with you when you're ready to do that. But don't wait too long, because life is short and it really is here for you to live the best life possible. All right, I'll talk with you soon.